Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror! The Perverts Have Spoken! Yes! 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 Episode number 26. Episode number 26. And I do have to apologize for last night's epic rant of disappointment in Nazula, the rat monster. Oh my goodness. You know, quite possibly, because of such a horrible experience, I mean, it wasn't that bad. There was some enjoyment to be had, but it was really, really lame. And then, of course, coming off of the disappointment that was the Babadookie. Anyways, not bad, just, This next movie that I decided to view, the first time viewing it too, it was recommended to me a while ago by one of my subscribers, and so I thought I would take them up on that, since it is Halloween season, and it was on sale, so, I'm always a sucker for a bargain. And tonight's movie is The Conjuring. So, let me just start out by saying this movie is fucking amazing. But I've only seen it once, and it was just finished watching it literally 15 minutes ago. I had to kind of decompress because the last half hour of this film was just intense. It's probably last half hour, maybe 20 minutes. I don't know. The last part of the film was just intense. I was, $20 gets you your whole chair, but all you need is the edge. I'm sorry, that was something I've seen a long time ago. I thought, hey, I could pull that out right now and use it. But yes, edge of my seat, just like fingers in my mouth, biting my nails. And I don't usually do that shit, but I'm just like watching this and I'm just like white knuckling it, because it built that tension. I mean, this movie. So let's rewind it and get back to the start here. So it's about a family. I don't know if they're a little bit down on their luck, but they're not well off. They moved to this new house in the country. The father seems to be a truck driver, and they have 4 daughters. Yeah, 4 daughters. And while they're in this house, strange things happen. Sounds, bumps, smells like rotting meat. The house is constantly cold, and the youngest daughter has an imaginary friend. These very, very typical things for a haunted house type movie. Honestly, one of the drawbacks of the movie is that it is very derivative of other established movies. I mean, I kept thinking about Poltergeist, and I kept thinking about the remake of Poltergeist, and I kept thinking also while I'm watching it, is like, this is how you do it. Poltergeist, that wasn't a bad movie. That movie was above average movie. This movie, boom, boom shakalaka, it did it. It's how it's done. Anyways, so after a while, things become more and more intense. Situations become more and more real. The wife gets kind of locked in the basement. The one daughter is pulled around, and so they enlist the help of the Warren family. I think Ed and I can't remember her name. Lorraine. There, I read it off the back. Anyways, Ed and Lorraine Warren and they are, I guess they call themselves demonologists, paranormal investigators, kooks is what they've thrown out in there. And they decide to help this family, though this is coming off of a recent traumatic case where Lorraine saw something. I guess she's partially clairvoyant. And she saw something that was horribly scarring. And because of that, Ed is kind of like, you know, I don't really want to continue to do this. Or if we're going to do this, I want to kind of shield her away from that. You know, a loving, protective husband doesn't want to always expose, you know, the people he loves to danger. So it's totally, you know, justifiable type of feelings. Anyways, so they go and they want to help. They do research on the house, and they determine that this house is fucked. I mean, it's fucked. Totally. Like, there's like a witch, and I'm not going to get too much into what was going on, so that if you choose to watch it, you can kind of get all the goodies too, because part of the fun of this movie is the exploring. Anyone who knows enough about me knows that I love the whole, I guess, paranormal research aspect, the whole pseudoscience going on behind it. One of my favorite movies is the, dang, I'm going to forget. I wanted to say Last House on the Left for some freaking reason. But no, it is The Legend of Hell House. See, they got L and house and, you know, anyway. Legend of Hell House, which kind of deals with that whole science part of it. Paranormal research, investigation, and stuff like that. I find that is like super fascinating to me. I mean, it really is. And this movie dives into that world too, which really, you know, just turns the interest. So in a way, a lot of the good stuff in it is probably because it's playing right to my loves in a way. But the movie uses a lot of jump scares. But I think they use the jump scares in the right way, because there's sometimes, you know, the jump scares are just so damn telegraphed, or there are too many red herring jump scares. And the movie does a good job of creating this feeling of creepiness, this atmosphere of unknown, of unease, and it uses that to heighten it. And of course, the sound engineering. You know, it just, you know, it's real quiet, you know, real quiet. BAM! Gets ya. And a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of people who says that's cheap, and it's cheating. And you know what? It might be cheap, and it might be cheating, but it's a horror movie, and the job is to kind of scare you, to kind of get there, to kind of unnerve you, to kind of get you out of your comfort zone. And honestly, I do not decry jump scares. In fact, anything that will get my heart racing, anything that will get me that adrenaline rush, because that's the beauty of horror movies. That's the beautiful part, is you get that unease, and you get to experience the fear while still in the back of your mind you're like, you're in a safe place, you're okay. And you get that tension, you get that, it's like riding that roller coaster. I mean, and so, you know, hate me all you want, but man, if your jump scares are good and you get me with them, kudos and thank you, because there are a lot of jump scares that are garbage, and if you can get me, bam, I love it. I love you for it too, because, oh, such a rush. And so this movie, it starts off slow, it starts off kind of creepy, but it does enough to keep you interested and engaged, and you just can't take your eyes off of what's going on. And then it just ratchets up as it gets to the end. And that, like I said, that last part, last half hour, 20 minutes, just it's riveting, and you're there. And for me, I was emotionally there. I bought into it. The thing with the family, the Warren's daughter, and all that. I was just like like just like, oh man, and I was just completely wired and in tune to what was going on. And yes, this is my first viewing. It's going to be hard to actually like get it a context with all of horrordom. I mean, I might have to watch it several more times to see how it kind of holds up. But that initial viewing just was like, I'm sitting there and the credits are going, and even like the credits, they're doing like this sort of newsprint stuff, and I'm going there, and I've got like a bottle of water here, and all of a sudden I'm just like, you know, like drinking it up. And the first thing that came to mind was that scene from the movie Brain Scan. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's a movie about this punk kid who kind of is like me, who's into horror movies and video games, get this horror video game, and the whole thing was so intense that he's just like drinking like milk, and just like, you know, just, yeah, you got to use some calming techniques because of the whole thing was so intense. And I kind of felt like that. I had to like go sit for a while, drink some water, and kind of just decompress a little bit, because it was that powerful to me. And I hate to say things. I hate to be overly glowing because I don't want to overhype it for people, because honestly, I was having mixed feelings, because I knew that like there was a lot of good scores, and there was a lot of people who liked the movie. But also, for some reason, you get one of these things where when you get a popular movie and there's well-liked, all of a sudden they're like almost like a little revisionist backlash type stuff happens, where people go, well, on second thought, it wasn't actually that great. Which could happen for me too, but then you get like people who go, it was never good. I never liked it. When I watched it, it was horrible and boring. And like, you know, maybe some people might have thought that's like something what I was doing with the Babadook. And like, no, I went in there, you know, maybe my expectations were too high. But that was my honest, I'm not, you know, not trying to be like a hipster or anything. That was just my honest assessment of the movie. And I'm not saying the movie was bad. And this is my honest assessment, is that I thought it was freaking amazing, but I don't want to like just pump it up too much for people, because I don't want people to go in kind of like how I did with the Babadook and go, well, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to be expecting an amazing film, and then, you know, you get so hyped up, which is, it's so hard to do, because I really, really loved watching this film. So maybe I should just cut it short and like stop talking about it, so that anyone who hasn't watched it don't get, you know, too hyped up. But I mean, so take all this with a grain of salt. I mean, obviously also it was playing to a lot of things that I like. You know, I do like the jump scares. I like to be gotten by the jump scares. So if you don't like that kind of stuff, if you're looking for something that's super violent and gory, it's not really violent or that gory. There is some blood. There is some scenes. Some of the bad things, yeah, they use CGI in a lot of shots, and a lot of times it's noticeable, and kind of, you know, the whole eyes bleeding thing from that movie reel, just, that was like, oh, come on, or the upside down cross thing, you know, and some of the birds in one of the scenes. So yeah, it does have that, you know, the use of the CGI as opposed to more realistic looking practical effects. But for all the flaws that I find through there, and there are flaws, and sometimes the acting is a little uneven, overall, it was an awesome experience. And my initial overall impression of this film is a 4.5 out of 5. Not perfect, because I have to score it lower, because it's not the most original thing in the world, though it's supposed to be based on true events. So, you know, you can't be original because it already happened or something. But just, you know, so many things, like from The Exorcist, from Amityville, from like Poltergeist, haunted house movies, exorcism movies, ghost movies. It's got all those elements, and it's so, I don't know what I would say, like by the numbers, but it is just executed so well. And they put all those pieces, even though they're overused pieces, they're cliche pieces, they're woven and put together brilliantly. And so, yes, it's not the perfect movie, but pretty damn close. So a 4.5 out of 5. I mean, I really wanted to give it a 5 out of 5, but the CGI, maybe in my heart of hearts, I wanted some more violence. But it was powerful. I mean, I was emotionally in there, which is very tough to do, especially, you know, nowadays with like a modern horror film. Most of the time, you don't really even give a shit about the characters. And this one, I was invested. Not necessarily from the start, but it hooked me and reeled me in. And so, I just gotta say, The Conjuring, it's a good film. Try to control your expectations though going into it. Maybe also because I'm coming off of like one atrocious piece of moviedom. Maybe that prived me to like, you know, really like this one, but I just thoroughly enjoyed it from start to finish. I mean, it wasn't a dull moment to be found. Thoroughly interested, entertained, creeped out, shocked, and I feel it. I still have that, like, it's still like electricity going through me. And you know what? I love it. I love it so much. Anyways, yeah, that's why horror movies are so awesome. That you can come across these ones and they get you, and they just, and you feel alive afterwards, and it's intense. And then when you turn off the lights and go to bed, you go, hey, maybe not. I don't know. Anyways, so there you have it. The Conjuring, probably the best movie I reviewed. No, definitely the best movie I reviewed. Better than It Follows. I will give it more than It Follows. I mean, It Follows was pretty damn good, but I gotta give this one probably the best movie I've reviewed, and probably will be the best movie I review for these 31 Nights of Halloween Horror. After all, we've got Die Hard Dracula waiting in the wings. But also, there is a movie that one of my subscribers suggested to me, and it sounded familiar. The name they gave it, though, Star of David, Beautiful Girl Hunting, or something like that, it sounded very familiar. It sounded like a movie that I came across, that I actually have in my archives. But it was called Beautiful Girl Hunter, so I didn't know if it was the same thing. So I did a little research, and, you know, mine's a Japanese flick, Nikatsu. And I'm like, that one is too, and it seems like, because I watched a part of it a long time ago. We're talking like 2004, 2005, like 10 years ago, and it seemed very familiar. So anyways, so she recommended that I watch this one, and you know what, I'm probably going to not only do that, but review that in a future date. I don't have many more dates left to go, so look forward to that one. But yeah, there you have it. Episode 26. Probably very long because it's me gushing. It's like the opposite. It's the antithesis of episode 25. I don't know, but anyways, I'm in a great mood now. But it's getting gonna be late, so better get it done. And you guys, you stay scary. Go watch The Conjuring. And tell me what you think if you've already watched it. Am I full of shit? Am I crazy? Am I just lost it? Or did I get it right? I don't know. Anyways, you guys stay scary. Rah!